How's everyone logging in from all over the world? Where are you logging in from? Put it in the chat. I love that question. It always makes you understand where the chat is so we can use the chat throughout this LinkedIn optimization. Anyways, welcome to today's hired workshop, LinkedIn optimization. We're excited to have you here, and we're excited to introduce Matthias, who's the Career Service Liaison and Virtual Events at Hired. And he's here today to share practical tips on how you can make LinkedIn work for you. I'm Kendall from Hired, and I'll be co-hosting the workshop. Before we dive in, I thought I'd just give a brief look at how Hired supports your career journey. So, Hired's Global Career Service Hub connects students and recent graduates like yourself with international opportunities through our global school members and employers. And we do this in 3 ways: jobs and internships for early career seekers, career resources like today's workshop and fairs, and global connections. So it's not really just about posting opportunities, it's also about helping you discover the right career path and making sure you are on the right track for growth in your employability. From tech to finance to consulting, Hired aims to connect you with roles all over the world, and we totally get it. You don't just want a job, you want something that's meaningful. And that's why we've been trusted to connect ambitious talent like yourself with employers who are looking for exactly that. And here is the cool part, that Hired is not just for now, it's also for your future. It's about building that legacy of opportunity. So today you're the student looking, or recent graduate looking for opportunities, and tomorrow you could be the one hiring, mentoring, or recommending jobs. And so as your career grows, we'd love to see that you and your future employers come back and partner with Hired to support and continue to inspire and recruit the next wave of talent. Anyways, enough of that, something to think about. Let's move on to the good stuff. Matthias is here to guide us through LinkedIn and how to actually make it work for you. Over the next hour, he'll cover how to make your profile stand out, use LinkedIn strategically, not just scroll aimlessly through it, and build connections that feel natural and professional. And lastly, this session works best if you join in, ask questions, and share your thoughts using the chat. All right, Matthias, they're all yours.
Hello. Lovely to see Kendall, and obviously lovely to see people from pretty much everywhere. I see France, I see Peru, I see Spain. I just see hello. I don't know where you're from, but I also see someone from Ireland. We're on the same island, at least today. Right. So my name is Matthias. As Kendall has said, I think we should pretty much jump into action. The fun part is when you put the picture into my head, Kendall, where you talked about doom scrolling on LinkedIn. That's probably one of the places where there shouldn't be any doom scrolling just yet, because as you know, LinkedIn is the place of positivity. Right. So let's get going, because we need some of that positivity today, because we're trying to. Beijing is here. Excellent. We have truly a global audience. Right. I think we should just basically go into media space. So into the middle of things, let's get going. I have control over the presentation slides, and I've got some notes here on my side just for me to be able to keep it all together. So to summarize today's topics, we'll be looking into personal branding, maybe from a slightly different perspective. If anyone caught up on the blog post that's been shared about this, personal branding is possibly these days now a kind of fancy term for kind of professional identity, proper truth, maybe with a little bit of SEO. So we'll kind of get to that. So we'll be talking about emphasizing, defining and communicating the professional reputation and value you have to offer. So that's kind of one point that LinkedIn can help you promote rather than necessarily build. It is all about you. And then LinkedIn is a strategic tool that can help you promote this. We'll also be speaking about kind of the strategic use of AI in this context. And by strategic, I mean carefully chosen which tools you can use or should use in which sections of your profile, but also where to hold off, because this is a mantra I will be using a lot throughout this presentation, and that is never let the robot write for you. It is still, it has to be your authentic voice. We'll be looking at headlines, the LinkedIn headline, on how to kind of craft a headline that works for you. The about section, often overlooked and often not in sync with, for example, your CV's mission statement or wherever you have another portfolio. That's one of those things that should strategically go throughout all your online properties, also just in your head. That's your written down elevator pitch. We'll talk about the experience section as well and how to be actively engaging in networking, because the one thing that you always have to keep in mind is that LinkedIn is a piece of social media, and social media requires people to be active on them. So again, unfortunately, I have to tell you, you can't just put your profile out there. You've got to work it as well. Otherwise, it's not working for you. Yeah, and then we're going back into conclusions and next steps. All right, let me just move my slide on here. So we all know LinkedIn is a kind of powerful tool for professionals. After almost 20 years, I think that has really sunk in everywhere. It's there and it helps you to showcase and connect with potential recruiters, colleagues, peers, and to help you build your personal brand. And the platform hosts over, I've looked this up earlier this week, wowzers, 1.2 billion professional profiles. That's as of January 2025. That's the information I gained, which is a lot. It offers a vast network of connections and opportunities. And based on these statistics, that's basically just over 20% of the global adult population. Now, that's not really a surprise, because LinkedIn's company aim is to map the workforce of the planet. Now, there are some areas on this globe where LinkedIn doesn't have reach and possibly never will. So if you're looking at those over 1 billion users, you're getting profiles, not users, you are getting quite a good percentage of the workforce of the planet already. In most cases, people use it as a digital resume or CV. That's the fill in your profile thing, this weird relationship with the CV. People do use it for networking. Probably job search is not enough. So this is something to look. And I also, it's also really a reputation management tool, which combines the two approaches, because your resume is kind of who you are projecting to be. The network with which you interact is, well, these may be your future colleagues. And I speak of experience because I have gotten jobs through LinkedIn, and I've gotten to know people through LinkedIn first and kind of build collegiate relationships. And then it is also becomes a tool that manages your reputation, your back catalogue of posts, the work that you've shared. All those things do make a difference how people perceive you. So that means that, as with any piece of social media, it can help you transform your online presence, and hopefully there are ideas to propel your career. So an active LinkedIn profile enhances your visibility, and it can also actively attract recruiters. So you can use it to, by optimizing your profile, which is why we're here today, um, you can practice effectively some search engine optimization in in support of your personal brand on the platform. So all those measures that we're taking today are mostly working within the platform. But then again, if you're looking at its reach, that makes perfect sense and just simply cannot be ignored. So today we'll be learning strategies to capture the attention from hiring managers. The goal here is to rank high in search results. That means when they go out looking for people with a specific profile, you want them to find you. And then obviously, hopefully get contacted for open positions. But also a well-optimized profile enhances your visibility. So while people may not be looking for you, you may pop up in their kind of field of vision. And then again, that increases your chance of being talked to with regards to potential job opportunities. So one is when you contact someone and you're applying or someone searching, you pop up. But also, if you have an active profile, you may be served through the algorithm to the user. And again, both things are things that you want to, and you want to be found for the right things. So let's have a look. It's all about drafting compelling headlines and professional summaries. That's really the starting point here. So you can use generative AI tools for that to kind of draft and refresh compelling headlines. And kind of the first thing is, and I don't have my LinkedIn account here open to share, but I would like you to, if you've got a second screen, just check out what is your headline. You're free to put it into the chat. Actually, just go to your LinkedIn profile if you want it anyway, and get your headline and post it into the chat. The prediction I'm going to make, given the audience, is, and well, it's a starting point, but many people will have something like student at XYZ college, motivated finance student at something like that. And even without AI optimization, I would like you to think about what that in many cases means. First of all, here we go. Oh, I like it. Amro, nice. You didn't fall into that trap. A lot of people do. No shame, just post. Um, um, oh, yeah, here we go. Student on double master's degree, engineering business. Nice. Anthony, great. However, there are kind of two things about this. And actually, you're using the seeking 6-month internship. So there is a bit of a mission statement in there, which I do like. Thanks for sharing those because they are useful. Um, when you basically say student right at the top when you're applying somewhere, whether it's on your CV or when you're opening up, there's always a risk that, oh, no, not another student. You want to lead with your experience. You want to lead with your strongest suit. And even though maybe studying at the moment is your main pursuit and possibly the thing you're currently proudest of, you're normally not being hired for being a student. So something like the last one here, procurement manager, supply chain management, procurement, scientific research, energy. Malika, that's pretty compact. And I have the feeling that may already have been a little bit optimized there. Don't lead with student generally, because that may someone stop reading the profile. And then the other thing is, student at immediately puts, you can work on the assumption that 80% of your class will have a similar profile. They will often have written student at, I'm currently sitting here at an office at Queen's University Belfast, and student at Queen's University Belfast, you're immediately amongst thousands of other people. But your headline is right under your name. It's the kind of the most kind of top level thing they see. So you want to make sure that it is about something about you rather than a organizational attachment. Now, I like that people are posting. I I personally, actually, I see that some first person has put in some emoji. I personally, I don't have an issue with that at all. I like me an emoji, and I'm kind of relaxed about that. It depends always a little bit on where you're applying. Um, Telecom engineer, an MBA candidate, yeah, yes, yeah, yeah, yes, but the candidate status there. Again, telecoms engineer with X years of experience. Yes, difficult. Telecom engineer with kind of specializations. You are also an MBA candidate or you are on an MBA program, which will become very visible immediately as people start reading. So think about that. Now, this is where generally a piece of generative AI can really be useful to kind of write a concise, keyword-rich headline about you. In order to fit into the headline fields under 220 characters. So actually, the emoji may not be the worst thing because it sometimes a picture says more than 1,000 words. And yeah, so the idea is to personalize. Well, the idea is always to personalize the options that come out. So another rule of kind of working with the robots is don't let them write for you, but when they offer you um, a piece of text, then never accept the first one. Let it workshop for you. Ask it for a couple of different options. So generative AI, LinkedIn has a tool. I will post a couple of other tools as part of this session here today as well. So let me just check out. Let me just check out that I'm on the kind of right slide here. I have. I'm going to ask my colleagues to post a review tool. Thank you very much. The profile review tool. Thank you very much from Redact AI. I'm going to show you a couple of free tools from kind of different providers, not endorsing kind of anyone specifically, and you'll actually see that they're quite that actually quite similar to each other. But generally, headline building is also something that just ChatGPT and similar Gemini and so can do for you. I would normally feed it with a bit of a summary of things that you've done. You could go for your CV in there. However, remember that whenever you feed personalized data into generative AI, it kind of becomes part of their data. So just be careful a little bit about things like birth dates and kind of more sensitive information. So you kind of take parts of your CV and put it in. Now, once you've workshopped a little bit, how are you supposed to know when a headline's going to work? Well, search for the keywords. Go into LinkedIn, go into the search box, and put the keywords that you're posting in there, that you're intending to post, and test them. See what comes up. Telecom engineer, that might be 50,000 hits. Do you want that? Do you want fewer hits? Do you want to be more precise? Think about what the aim is that you're trying to achieve here. You don't necessarily want to be the classic Google whack, just with kind of such a unique headline that only you can be found, because chances are not many people are going to search for it. And there are stats that you can see and see what keywords are popular on LinkedIn. So have a look at that and then see who you are likely to show up next to by putting the keywords that the generative AI has given you into the search box. And you want to see, are you happy with what surrounds you? Because that then may show you that you are hopefully in the right ballpark. And Well, professional summaries then go into the about section. So um, the idea is to craft a compelling personal narrative. When you've got the headline bit, I may have should have actually started with the about section. That's bigger, but on the other hand, it offers you the opportunity to craft a longer narrative, which you then condense down. Because we're often not experts in analyzing who we are. We're being taught in our kind of postgraduate programs, often taught bits of self reflection, but we're often not really applying that really to ourselves. It's more like yeah, I need to write that reflective essay, but does that really have an impact on my career? The answer is actually yes. But in this case, it's about, is the slide moving? We're still on the main slide. We are still on the main slide. Don't worry, Sarah. We are. I haven't moved yet. Thanks for asking. So keep that in mind as you progress. And most important thing also for your about section, do not copy paste. LinkedIn should tell a story, and the idea is to identify and amplify strengths with keywords, and then use generative AI tools to help you find the keywords that are going to play well on LinkedIn, and that you will have to just then test out in vivo. Right. Let's move on. So I need to just see this. Yeah, on the right slide here. I have two systems here because I do have some speaker notes and I'm progressing these slides in the presentation software. So if I look to the side a little bit, it's just to make sure that I'm on the right slide. So Sarah raised a very well, good point. So this is very much now about defining a personal brand. Effectively, this is, as I said before, that's like a modern fancy word for professional reputation. It involves defining your unique value and consistently communicating your skills, experiences, and passions. Amro, you do not have to ask whether to ask a question. Just ask the question in the chat and I'll pick it up. I have the chat right in front of me. So I'm looking at three things at the same time to like a DJ to keep things going. So just ask your question. I cannot find my profile on the tool that you shared. Who? Okay, that is unusual. I can't really answer this questions at this moment in time. Uh, is the link working? Okay, the link should be working. Let me do a little bit of surgery here because I can check out whether the link actually does work. This is interesting because to me it does. If you go up one level, I'm going to repost this into the private chat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I see that Kendall or Genesis have intervened and sorted this. Don't know exactly what happened there. I copied it out of my presentation slide, so it's possible that that didn't work as intended. So yes, if you're in the free tool sections on Redact AI, you will actually find quite a lot of the tools that I'll be showing later as well. So just keep an eye on those. Also, I'm pretty sure we can share, if anyone has any issues with links later, that we can share the updated links list if that's necessary. Right, okay, we are going next to the brand side of it. Okay, Mena, I got you. How should I make a comeback? I will pick that up in a moment. Mana, do what we're talking about. A lot of people need to retool their LinkedIn profiles. You're in the position in which basically yours needs a little bit of refreshing and a little bit of surgery. You can. It depends a little. Can I make a what happened in the last 3 years recap post? And was that not necessarily a trait? So it depends a little bit what you did. If you like traveled the world in a rowing boat and have a long story to tell, it's probably more than just one. If you have, for example, had caring responsibilities during this time, there is actually a career break option which you can add to your LinkedIn profile as well. Um, and doesn't necessarily have to be a post. And to be quite honest, make sure that your profile is fitting and without gaps, and you just start posting. There is no, I don't think, to be honest, that people will have been like looking around your profile and saying, why hasn't Mona posted in such a long time? You just start posting again. But I'll get to posting slightly later. Let's look at, and I see, okay, I'll pick up, Rebecca, on your question about the internship as well. Give me a moment for that, because this will become relevant when we're looking at work experience. So your professional brand is your professional reputation. And if you're starting out, like, for example, Rebecca is saying, well, what would my reputation be? I'm not there yet. Every one of us has a story to tell. You were not just born yesterday. Your approach is to build your profile with every experience that you gain. So have a little bit of patience with you and just start out. You will have written a CV. You will have some experience from maybe from school or from some clubs that you've been part of, some charity work maybe, um, being on a sports team or so, and you build that in. Everyone starts out somewhere. Even I, and I've been a LinkedIn user for a very long time, at some point had basically no experience. We all start out somewhere. So be gentle with yourself. Um, you don't have to somehow manage some kind of massive PR operation, an influencer operation from your LinkedIn account from the start. Start gently with yourself. Look at what you have to offer, and then every experience that you gain, that you obviously add to what you are trying to message. Also, one thing is, if you're sitting there and say, oh, I'm just going to copy my CV over, mm, it's the LinkedIn profile is rich content. You send someone your CV, and that's just basically information that you're giving them. The LinkedIn profile, putting the emphasis on social media, will give more context. And as opposed to your CV, it offers you the opportunity to like massage your message and make your kind of emphasize message about parts of the experience you have to offer. So I made a little chart in the a blog post I posted about the session in advance, and it was along the lines of leveraging your professional truth, whatever that may be, gaps and everything. And believe me, I've got gaps. I've got things that I may want to forget. There are mistakes, and the mistakes that I made, missteps that I made. They're all part of your kind of tapestry of the squiggling career that we have, because whatever you learn from any career intervention is, it doesn't just go straight in a straight line. It normally always is this, and the LinkedIn profile can show that just as much. It sometimes enriches it because it makes it more interesting to read and less formal than a CV. Now, however, you are writing to an audience. So when your CV may be a representation of what you've done and how successful you were with that, the LinkedIn profile adds context. And if you are starting to think about, you kind of know where you're applying. So speak in your institution, speak with your careers team. They will be able to help you make out the target audience. And then your LinkedIn profile, and in the end, all your documentation should be resonating with that target audience, including peers and potential employers. I'm going to do the jiggle with the slides again. Okay, so AI, handle with care. Generative AI tools can assist in writing and refreshing key sections in your LinkedIn profile. So we had Myrna earlier saying, where do I start? Well, actually, first of all, update everything that you've done in the last 3 years. So that's new information. But once that's all in, this is again where generative AI can really help you. Have it summarize and reformulate your experiences and start refreshing the content into both more updated language, but also into language that works with your target audience. How do you find that out? Well, look at how companies talk about themselves. And I see the questions coming in. I could just do an hour here. Uncle Matthias, Agni Uncle Matthias on LinkedIn. I think Kendall and Genesis is something we should talk about. So I'll come to this. Generally, you put everything. This is an answer to our lead. You generally put effectively everything in there. Things may be emphasized just as you would with a normal CV. You're looking at every single line and think, is this really relevant? Is this what's going to be seen by an employer? The difference is your CV is read normally by computer or person. So there's like an order in which you read. The higher it is, the more important it is. On a LinkedIn profile is definitely read by a robot first because it's being served up based on content. So it is not as important in terms of positioning, which is standardized in LinkedIn anyway, but what keywords are in there? Are you using the same wordings that are relevant for these employers? So do a generative AI search and have them analyze, let's say, keywords from the 5 top employers you want to go for, and then look whether your LinkedIn profile serves those words up. That's how you start basically building a match between what they're looking for and what you have to offer. It's about consistency of language and keywords. And this is something that generative AI tools, especially large language models, are reasonably good at. So by making sure your summary, work experience headline, they need to in the end stand out, and the LinkedIn profile and the LinkedIn function algorithm, which search out, kind of jumps through the process of reading and picks up the language patterns then that the LLM has served up for them, the large language model. You're using that, and their applicant tracking system should pick up on it as well, and or obviously the LinkedIn algorithm. So make things are recognizable and common. Don't use internal language from a previous job to describe a certain type of customer. If there's a standard word saying this. Now, there is caution necessary. Generative AI tools, even though they give us the impression, and AI booster types in media and tech reporting tend to talk about intelligence. Generative AI tools, large language models, aren't really intelligent. A large language model guesses effectively the next word you want to hear from it. That doesn't make it intelligent, but it makes it useful for you because its predictive ability is exactly what you're looking for when a predictive algorithm within the LinkedIn environment is trying to find what candidates would be relevant when someone uses LinkedIn Recruiter, where you want to pop up. However, keep in mind, there are always ethical issues with regards to using algorithmic methods. Just look at the training data that they've been fed with. There can be language and translation biases favoring English-trained tools. Educational bias, sometimes when, for example, applicant tracking systems don't recognize kind of non-traditional training paths. This is the squiggly career path I've looked at. Okay, I see this as well, Sarah. Yeah, people have trouble with the link. That's sad because I used it on my profile. So this is something that we need to check. I can't tell you at the moment, but I'm pretty sure we can share this. Do a keyword search. You should be able to find Redact AI. I think it's redactai.io. But that should really find it. I'm sorry that that specific link doesn't seem to be working. I'm a little bit worried about any other links I might want to post. AI can't really, Antonin, the answer to that is yes. Two language profiles are perfectly fine. It's just double the work. But if you're applying in a, so I'm German, if I were to apply in Germany, I would consider having a German profile, absolutely. We're really straying from the optimization point. People have lots of questions. I think I should offer another LinkedIn session. I'm getting really, really keen on this. And they're not good at kind of tone and communicating of bias. So just keep those things in mind. So AI can offer efficiencies in recruitment. Certainly, that's why it's being used. But that can also go at the expense of the experience of the candidate. So best practice. I want to say this again. I'm going to say it later on as well. Always absolutely meticulously review, customize, and personalize any AI generated content to accurately reflect your unique voice and experience. Never accept the first answer. Workshop your content. That means go for it again, let it answer again. That's how you actually work with it. Don't use it as a search engine. Use it as an engine to push the same information from different perspectives through it. And that is your headline, your about section, and all other sections that we'll be looking at. Never accept the first answer. Rephrase your prompts. Always do the final edit by hand. Right. What would be wonderful? I don't know what I said. Was it something I said? I hope it would be wonderful. Right. Let's go to the next one. Now, I have a link here, and this worries me now because I'm not entirely sure whether it's going to work. I have the feeling we're mangling our links here. So let me, I wanted to put that in the private chat. I don't seem to have access to the private chat. Jennifer, this is about, oh, here. Yes, I still can't open it. Okay. In order not to get stuck here, I'm pretty sure we can send something out after this session with the links for this. I'm very happy to put a little sheet together for you because I'm going to show you. You can look this up, the Taplio tools, which is the next thing I'm going to show you. There we go. So headline, again, common mistake. We've covered that. And Taplio, so this is one of the, let me see, there we go. Sorry, there we go. I need to make sure that these are all in line with each other. So I've posted two tools here. One is Redact AI, and it's called the LinkedIn Summary Generator. I think this is probably a Google search for you. And again, I'm very happy to share something later on. And the other one is from a platform called Taplio, Taplio. And they also have a summary generator. And as you see on the screenshots, I'm so glad I did the screenshots and not doing this live. You see that they're effectively asking the same questions. So they're asking you pointed questions. Thank you. Does this work? Please, please, please tell me. Someone tell me that these work. Um, have a look on how the two tools give you potentially different answers. That's what I mean by workshopping things. So it's all about using a unique professional story, but using keywords that are widely accepted. It works. Asen, thank you very much. That's nice to hear. I like the Taplio tool. The other one is the Written Act AI, but again, we'll share links later. Excellent. So try playing with those tools. And I've done this live in business classes with students. And it was interesting to see when they put in answers or copied in answers from their CVs and kind of wrote down a little bit whom I'm trying to appeal to, what is it that I have to offer, all those stuff ended up with quite interesting insights about themselves. So having the generative AI push back a question towards you or give you an answer, sometimes you're like, is that really what's in my CV? There is a subtext in there which, well, the machine does not understand, but it can help prompt you to think beyond that point, um, beyond that point, and make you think deeper what you have to offer to an employer. And there comes your summary, and there comes your headline. So one practical point is to say, I write the headline last. Fill in your profile, workshop single sections in it, use generative AI to give you suggestions, choose those suggestions, fill it back in, and then ask it, what are the main themes that I have to offer? Just because it's at the top doesn't mean that you have to work it off from the top. Now, I'm a little bit more circumspect when it comes to the work experience section, because that's highly individualized, and one work experience doesn't necessarily map onto another one. So I sometimes people decide to just put bullet points from their CV on there. These are the things I did. I would personally write short paragraphs which summarize the experience and then make sure that the keywords match again. And we talked about how to identify keywords and how to project them. Generally, bullet points in CVs are often underwhelming because people just describe what they did. And that's far less effective than having a um, CV that is achievement focused. Now, I could do a whole session on this, which I will not, because actually someone has already for hired done a section. So Genesis, I don't know whether you're on the speaker notes as well. There is a Best AI Tips for Standout CV Insight from Resume Building with Rohan Malhotra, which is a video on our higher platform amongst the masterclasses, I think. There's a direct link which can be posted. So I don't know if Kendall or Genesis, if you get a chance to put, yes, thank you very much. That is perfect. So I'm not going to talk you through this because there is such a great piece of content on this that I'm going to shut up on this point. Watch the video, help you redevelop your CV, and then we're back on the LinkedIn. So don't do that now. Stay on. We've got 15 minutes to go. All right. multi-screen section we've got covered. I'm going to go one further. Here we go. So, general LinkedIn optimization 101. Picture. Have a picture. This is not AI stuff. Do not overproduce your picture. Just do a decent and good picture. Professional photos can build trust. Can I give an example of a metric-focused description? Yes, I can. Well, yes. Oh, yes, I can. Something from my CV. I was in charge of student inductions at the university. We had to channel through something like 1,000 students over, I think, 2 days. And they used to wait, there was a 4-hour waiting time between them walking into the university and being in class. I ran a team, coordinated 12 different departments, 1, 2, and through rechanging the system the way I wanted to, we halved that time, and we were able to get more students through the system in a quicker time. That is metric based because I told you the volume that I had to deal with. I told you about the quality improvement that I made, and I demonstrated the success. Watch the video from Ron. It'll help you with this. So back to profile picture. Nice neutral background. No selfies. No selfies. Have someone else take the picture of you. Generally, this is the kind of non-fancy part. This is just good profile management, but it needs to be done. So professional photo. There's a lot of online advice on how to do a professional LinkedIn picture. Showcase your projects, internships, certifications. There was someone who said earlier, I've just got an internship and so on. Well, that's exactly what I want you to do. We had this earlier. Digital marketing, LinkedIn account based on that background. Now it's second year. Yeah, you fill in the gaps, but look at the achievements. 3 bullet points, or 2 bullet points with achievements are better than 5 bullet points just with description. But professional picture, build trust, authenticity. It's about recognizing you again. If you Google me, you will find the same picture more or less everywhere that I use in order to be recognizable. And at some point, I had some professional photography done. It's only so much I can work with. Full, complete skills and endorsement lists. This is where it gets really boring. But again, think about the keywords that they're looking for. They'll be looking for certain skills. You've identified them earlier with your keywords, and make sure that your skills list represents those keywords, and get some endorsements from your friends or previous workers, because that all feeds the algorithm with a more complete profile, which raises your chances of being found. And also recommendations from mentors. Seek recommendations from above, from peers, and from people at some point who have reported to you. All this contributes to your findability and the stickiness of your profile. And this is make your own SEO. There is no fancy tool that can help you with it. It is about completeness. And now we come to the part where there's a question about early on, and that is about keeping your LinkedIn profile active. If you do not keep your LinkedIn profile active by posting regularly, your profile will sink to the bottom, and there it will stay. This is absolutely essential. LinkedIn, like any other social network, punishes inactive profiles. Be on there. Like daily. Share daily-ish. Take part in a conversation once a week. Once a month, create a bigger content piece. Again, if there's interest, this is a session that I can do on how to post smart and promote yourself towards employers using content. Little hint, I have recently secured a role using content. It's about building meaning relationships with other people on the platform. Yes, you have to interact with them, but then this is much less stressful than being in a room and networking if you can do that in a way that many of you will be interacting, just like you used from Instagram, TikTok, and so on, or other Facebook for the maybe older population amongst us. So you need to be active because LinkedIn serves active profiles higher up in the list of results. And here is a word of warning. I wouldn't use AI tools to actually create posts or LinkedIn messages. Messages especially, this is where the human factor has to come in. It's an algorithm. It does not create real organic and human content with emotion and subtext. Do that yourself. There are formula, there are templates, there are ways to help you here, but I wouldn't. And I've used the LinkedIn post generator, and I've never ever posted based on it. Normally, I have a laugh at it and say, "Yeah, this is really not how I speak." And then the same thing generally goes, obviously, for messages. They are best written by a human. They require warmth and a genuine interest in others. And again, it is just a machine. So we're at the end of the slide part. I just want you to remember a couple of things that we looked at and just let those things sink in again. So we talked about optimizing a LinkedIn profile, and we relied heavily on generative AI and more specialized tools. We looked at the general completeness of a LinkedIn profile. An incomplete profile is not optimized, so there's still a lot of legwork. But you can use generative AI tools in order to help you condense your experiences into a strong summary, and then condense that summary into a strong headline. And there comes the work of testing the keywords that come from your profile against the keywords that, first of all, external organizations will kind of talk about. If you want to go into consultancy, you've got to speak the consultancy lingo. And also then test them in the LinkedIn search function to make sure that you're not the only one who shows up with this profile, but that you're in a select group of people that you feel comfortable with. There are specialized tools for that. Again, sorry for some of the links here. Again, happy to formulate something for you. And I would like to remind you again, and this is the last thing I'm going to say to that, so is never let the robot write for you. A LinkedIn tool has value for professionals, absolutely. It helps you optimize your profile. You can optimize your profile for greater visibility, which we talked about. You can showcase your skills and professional accomplishments effectively. A lot of that is legwork. Robot will not take that from you. And networking actively on the platform. That's what then helps make an optimized profile shine, because just an optimized profile, again, will just sink down to the bottom. I'm done. You can show the slide. I see that you've already shared a follow-up slide. That's it from my side. I'll have another look at the chat if anything kind of pops up. But Kendall, do you want to take the wheel again?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Matthias. A huge thanks for sharing such practical insights on LinkedIn and making that social platform work for the students. Of course, thank you, all of you, for participating in this workshop. Great questions, great interaction throughout. So high five, well done. Matthias's remember was never let the robot write for you. A good takeaway. And my remember and takeaway from this session from Matthias is LinkedIn is not a digital CV. It's an ongoing way to share your story and build connections and essentially open doors to opportunities. The more intentional and authentic you are in doing so, the stronger your presence will be. So I hope you've all found and come away with one remember and start to apply that through some exercise. Now let's talk about what's next. And what's next at Hired is that we look forward to seeing you at the Global Virtual Career Fair on October 22nd and 23rd. On the screen right now, you can scan the QR code, and possibly in the chat, we will also put the link for you to register. So we'll leave it there and leave it at that. Thank you everyone for coming, and look forward to seeing you on October 22nd and 23rd. Have a great day.